What is the mysterious illness that kills the Earth, in Interstellar, the 2014 movie by film director Christopher Nolan? Let's begin with the immediate answer. In Interstellar, the mysterious disease ravaging Earth is known as the blight. While the movie presents it as a biological catastrophe, its nature can be understood through three distinct levels of depth: the scientific premise, the environmental mechanics, and the philosophical allegory. 1. The biological premise. The nitrogen-breathing pathogen. At the most literal level, the blight is a generalized plant pathogen, likely a fungal or bacterial organism, that has mutated to become incredibly versatile and resilient. The nitrogen factor. Professor Brand explains that the blight breathes nitrogen. Since Earth's atmosphere is roughly 78% nitrogen and only 21% oxygen, the blight has a nearly inexhaustible fuel source. The atmospheric shift. As the blight consumes plants and thrives on nitrogen, it begins to alter the atmosphere's chemistry. It doesn't just kill food, it actively displaces oxygen. This leads to the film's chilling prognosis: the last people to starve will be the first to suffocate. The generalist nature. In the real world, blights, like the Irish potato famine, usually target one specific species. The interstellar blight is a superpathogen that has jumped from wheat to okra to corn, suggesting it attacks the fundamental process of photosynthesis or the cellular structure common to all plant life. 2. The environmental mechanic. Desertification and the Dust Bowl. The illness isn't just in the plants, it has metastasized into the very geography of the Earth. This level explains the constant dust storms. Soil erosion. Plants do more than provide food, their root systems anchor the soil. As the blight kills off grasses and trees globally, there is nothing left to hold the Earth down. The feedback loop. The death of vegetation leads to massive desertification. This creates the Dust Bowl effect, where topsoil is picked up by the wind, creating black blizzards that cause dust pneumonia in humans. Historical inspiration. The filmmaker used actual interviews from survivors of the 1930s American Dust Bowl, featured as the elderly people in the film's documentary segments, to show that this illness is a dramatized version of a real ecological disaster caused by poor land management and drought. 3. The philosophical level, nature's eviction notice. On a deeper, more interpretive level, the blight represents nature's indifference to humanity. The end of the nurturing mother. For millennia, humans viewed Earth as a permanent provider. The blight represents the moment Earth becomes allergic to us. It is not an enemy to be fought with medicine, but a sign that our time on this specific island has naturally expired. The caretaker versus explorer conflict. The illness serves as a narrative device to force a choice. Cooper's world has become obsessed with being caretakers, farmers, trying to heal a dying planet. The blight's persistence proves that humanity can no longer survive by looking down at the dirt. We must return to being explorers looking up at the stars. Evolutionary pressure. Some fans interpret the blight as a correction. By making the planet unbreathable, the universe, or the bulk beings, effectively forces humanity to evolve into a multiplanetary species. But this illness could also be a psychological blight. The idea that the physical decay of the world is a macrocosm of the internal stagnation and grief of the protagonist. If we move away from biology and into the realm of the psyche, the illness takes on a much more intimate, human shape. 1. The underemployment of the soul, existential crisis. From a psychological perspective, Cooper is suffering from existential vacuum. He is a ghost of a previous era, a pilot in a world that only wants farmers. The mismatch of identity. Cooper's illness is the friction between who he is, an explorer, and what society demands, a caretaker. This creates a deep sense of resentment. When he says, "We used to look up at the sky and wonder at our place in the stars, now we just look down and worry about our place in the dirt," he is describing a clinical depression of a whole species. The blight as stagnation. In this view, the blight is the physical manifestation of entropy. Just as the plants are stopping their growth, Cooper's life has stopped its upward trajectory. He is rotting in a cornfield, and the dust is the ashes of his dead dreams. 2. The psychoanalytical lens, the father's fear of time. Using a psychoanalytical approach, particularly Freudian or Lacanian, the illness can be seen as the anxiety of the infinite. The daughter as the anchor. Cooper's love for Murph is his greatest strength, but also his illness. He is paralyzed by the father's paradox. He wants to protect her, stay on the farm, but to truly save her, he must abandon her, go to the stars. Time as the pathogen. In psychoanalysis, the fear of death is often linked to the imprint we leave behind. The blight represents the shortness of time. Cooper's obsession with the illness of the earth is actually a projection of his fear of Murph growing up and him not being there. The Tesseract as a cure. Later in the film, the Tesseract, the fifth dimension, allows Cooper to see time as a physical dimension. This is the ultimate therapy. He literally walks through the hallways of his own memories to reconcile with the moment he left. The illness, separation, is healed by the realization that love is quantifiable and transcends dimensions. 3. The mythological level. The wounded king. In mythology, specifically the legend of the Fisher King, there is a concept that the health of the land is tied to the health of the leader or hero. The desolate kingdom. Because the explorers, the heroes, have been sidelined and forced to become farmers, the earth itself becomes a wasteland. The quest for the Grail. Cooper leaving Earth isn't just a NASA mission, it's a mythological journey to find the Grail, the data from the black hole, to heal the world. The Earth is sick because the human spirit is suppressed. The moment Cooper regains his purpose, the healing of the human race begins. The blight is a shared delusion. There is even a darker, more radical interpretation. Could the illness be a manifestation of Cooper's guilt? By framing the earth as dying, Cooper gives himself the moral permission to do the one thing his heart desires most, to leave his children and fly again. In this psychological reading, the blight is the perfect excuse for a man who loves the stars more than the soil, but needs to feel like a hero instead of a deserter. We produced thereafter another type of understanding. Cooper is depressed. He has no one to talk about his loving the space and the stars. He is alone. He begins daydreaming being the savior of humanity and fusioning with his daughter from an intellectual point of view. This is perhaps the most haunting and human interpretation of the film. In this light, Interstellar is not a space odyssey, but a subjective psychological journey, a grand, cosmic daydream born from the mind of a man who feels obsolete. If we look at the illness as a manifestation of Cooper's clinical depression and isolation, the narrative shifts from science fiction to a deep study of the narcissism of grief and the desire for intellectual union. 1. The savior complex, the heroic escape. Psychologically, when an individual feels powerless in their reality, a failed pilot, a widowed father, a struggling farmer, they often retreat into a savior complex. The hallucination of purpose. In this reading, the discovery of NASA is too convenient. The coordinates found in the dust, the secret base just to drive away, and the immediate offer to lead the most important mission in history are all hallmarks of a compensatory fantasy. The externalization of internal decay. Cooper cannot fix his grief or his loneliness, so his mind creates a dying world that only he can save. The blight is the physical representation of his feeling that everything is dying anyway, which justifies his decision to abandon his domestic responsibilities for his personal passion, flight. 2. Intellectual fusion. Murs has the anima, and the intellectual fusion with his daughter. In Jungian psychology, Murph could be seen as Cooper's anima, the feminine aspect of his own psyche that holds his creative and intellectual potential. The mirror of the mind. Cooper doesn't just love Murph, he sees himself in her. She is the only one who shares his illness, the obsession with the unknown. By saving the world with her, he is attempting to achieve a state of syzygy, a divine union of the masculine, the explorer in action, and the feminine, the scientist and intuition. The library as the subconscious. The tesseract, the ghost in the bookshelf, is the ultimate symbol of this fusion. He is literally trapped inside the symbol of her knowledge, books, trying to communicate across a void. This isn't just a father talking to a daughter. It is a mind trying to reconcile two parts of itself, the part that left, Cooper, and the part that stayed and grew bitter, Murph. 3. The gargantua of grief, emotional singularity. The black hole, gargantua, can be interpreted as the singularity of depression. Time dilatation as isolation. Depression often feels like time is moving differently for you than for the rest of the world. You feel stagnant while others, like his son Tom, grow old and move on. The return to the womb. Entering the black hole is a symbolic return to the darkness of the self. In that state of total isolation, Cooper finally solves the equation. This represents the breakthrough in a psychological crisis where the individual finally integrates their trauma. 4. The melancholy of the cylindrical end. The ending of the film at the Cooper station is sterilized and artificial. Cooper is still alone, Murph is surrounded by a family he doesn't know, and she tells him to leave. The infinite loop of the dreamer. If this is a daydream, the ending is the most tragic part. He is a man out of time, still unable to fit into normal society. His only solution is to steal a ship and head back into the void to find Brand. The illness is never cured, the Earth might be saved, but Cooper's internal illness, his inability to exist in the present, remains. He is forever chasing a horizon that doesn't exist.